Recycling technologies available today cannot solve the problems that we have.
I'm here at MIT in Massachusetts, where two former students discovered a breakthrough that could change the game for recycling. Recycling. Recently, I've been seeing all these videos saying recycling is a scam, and they're getting tons of views. Now, they're not totally wrong. Only about 9% of what we throw away actually gets recycled. The system is wildly confusing, but here's the problem. Most of these videos stop at everything's broken, and they don't offer any practical solutions. So now people think it's like edgy or cool to not throw things away in the recycling bin altogether. Frankly, I think that's really dumb. Just because recycling is difficult doesn't mean that it's not something that's worth trying to figure out. At Dollar Donation Club, we've dug deep into this topic, and today I want to shed some light on why recycling is so difficult.
Over 85% of all the plastics and textiles that is globally produced ends up in our landfills, in our oceans, or it is incinerated.
In textiles, it's even lower. Textile recycling is less than 1%. So really, we're making and then trashing what we use every day.
So, how does recycling actually work? First, when you toss a plastic bottle into the recycling bin, it's collected and taken to a place called a Material Recovery Facility, or MRF. Here, machines and workers sort the recyclables into different categories: plastics, metals, paper, and so on. Next, the sorted plastics are cleaned to remove any leftover food or liquids. Then, they're shredded into small pieces called flakes. These flakes are melted down and formed into new products. But here's the catch. Not all plastics are the same. There are different types like PET, HDPE, and others, each with its own properties. Mixing them can cause problems, so they need to be carefully separated.
This is a key point that makes recycling so challenging.
The material is not homogeneous. It's complex and varied. Also, each time plastic is recycled, its quality degrades. Think of it like making a photocopy of a photocopy. The image gets blurrier each time.
Eventually, the plastic gets too weak to be made into things like new bottles. When that happens, it's often turned into lower value product and sometimes ends up in a landfill.
This is why most recycled plastic isn't turned back into bottles. Instead, it's downcycled into products like textiles that end up in your clothes. Which brings us to our next point. The downward spiral of plastic quality often ends here, in your clothes, as synthetic fibers like polyester. However, the problem is that these clothes can't be turned back into things like bottles or anything else of value for that matter. Not currently, at least.
Today, the main form of recycling is mechanical recycling, but it cannot remove the impurities and contaminants, so the material that's produced is actually a downgraded version. And the new technologies that have been developed are called chemical recycling technologies. And they unfortunately break the plastic down to its building blocks. They're energy intensive, therefore they cost a lot of money to recycle.
Macrocycle is a next generation plastic recycling technology that can cut emissions, cut costs, and deliver high quality. We are not breaking any bonds, we are making bonds. That's where we came up with a solvogenesis technology that directly and selectively upgrades the broken plastic chains in the mixed waste into high value, virgin grade PET plastic.
Solvogenesis doesn't melt plastics down. Instead, it gently dissolves them using a non-toxic solvent, separating out impurities like dyes and contaminants. This process breaks the plastic into its fundamental components without degrading them. Then, like reusing fresh ingredients, these components are reassembled into virgin-grade plastic, just as strong and pure as new.
And it does all this using 80% less energy than current chemical recycling methods.
And if they harness the power of renewable energy, they could get this to zero.
So when Macrocycle's process is finally adopted at massive scale in the world, we see this as the dominant production technology, not only recycling, but really how we make PET and polyester in the world. Not using oil, making use of all the currently non-usable waste in the world. And so this is a technology that can create jobs, lower carbon emissions, lower toxicity in the world, and really solve the big plastic problem that we have today.
So just because recycling seems impossible doesn't mean that it is. Besides, even the 9% that does get recycled would be about 24 million tons of plastic that would end up in landfills in our oceans every year if we didn't try.
Recycling is complicated, but while we continue to reduce the use of plastic, hopefully we can find solutions that don't just rely on the behavior change of billions to save our planet. I'd love to hear what you think in the comments below.